on the Sooner Sports Network from Learfield, live at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. This is Sooner Sports Talk, presented by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. Sooner Sports Talk is also brought to you by Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. And by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. This is Sooner Sports Talk. Now, here are your hosts, Teddy Lehman, and the voice of the Sooners, Toby Rowland.
All right, here we go. Monday night, we're at Rudy's. We're talking Sooner football for the next hour. Brent Venables will join us shortly as the Sooners get set to go on the road for the first time in the SEC Saturday afternoon on the Plains at Auburn. We're also going to be talking tonight about the first loss of the year. Tennessee got them in the SEC opener this Saturday night, 25-15. And here to help me with all of that is the Butkus and Bednarik Award winner and the best color analyst in college football. Make him welcome Teddy Lehman, everybody.
How we doing, T-Row?
What's up, partner? How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm good. Just regrouping a little bit after the weekend. That was big time. What a show around here. That was awesome. The spectacle that we saw on Campus Corner.
We probably didn't say it enough in the first show tonight, so let's say it here. The Sooner fans were amazing on Saturday night. Not just Saturday night. Campus, game day, the whole week. I think it's the best atmosphere that I've seen at an OU football game maybe in my life, and it was awesome.
Hard to argue with that.
The drone show was amazing.
Yep.
Everything about the game was.
No, I thought
except
it was,
the outcome, obviously.
Right. I thought it was fantastic. Incredibly loud. The crowd showed up early, well before kickoff, and stayed the whole time. It was fantastic.
Well, that cheer can only mean one thing. There he is. We are joined now by the head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners. Please welcome Brent Venables, everybody. Howdy, sir.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you tonight?
Good.
I'll let you jump in on what we were just talking about. We were kind of giving it up to the Sooner fans because the game day, you were on game day Saturday morning, the tailgating scene, and the game, what an atmosphere.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Just wonderful. You know, starting really, it was about Wednesday. The buzz started happening around Norman and certainly the campus area. And, oh, boy, it was a lot of fun. I sure wish we could have performed better and got a win. But they affected Tennessee without question, their ability to operate. They're very palpable, the energy, the passion, starting early in the morning, so deep. That's what it should look like. That was a lot of fun to witness that.
All right, we got 48 hours now to kind of reflect and gather your thoughts from Saturday night, 25-15. What's your takeaway?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes without saying, we played a really good team and had a chance, to win the game. We played poorly enough in the areas that you can't play bad. Nothing impacts a game more than turnovers, and you can get away with some turnovers in certain areas and still be able to overcome. But in plus territory, when you got the ball inside the 20 twice, and we're giving the ball back to them, you're playing with fire, and you can't do that against really a lot of people, but especially good people. And you get the ball in plus territory, and the other piece of that is we're doing it on 1st and 10 when they're not really stressed. And then again, all things being said, well, we're not giving ourselves a chance. So I say that in our first interception, they had dropped 8 after we got a conversion and we go fast, and they dropped 8. And, you just can't force that one. It's not there. And we could run it. We could throw it away, but you could run it for probably 10, 15 yards there. And again, in plus territory. And then we forced the fumble there on 3rd down at the 10, and then we recovered it at the 6 and on the very first play. And again, we to hold on to the ball there. That's a play that, we in our conference, you see Ole Miss run it with Jackson Dart a lot, with a lot of success. Cody Cook at Missouri, they were #1 in the country last year in red zone offense, and that's their bread and butter play. And we gotta block it and protect it. They were boxing it with our defensive end. It's not a read play. It's a design play, and we're supposed to kick out, and we back block on the 3 technique, and we let the 3 technique cross our face from the boundary side B gap essentially. He comes all the way across. We get penetration. Our guard gets knocked back, so our puller kind of gets knocked away. He's supposed to kick out and seal. When I defend that play, the 2 guys that made the tackle, I don't ever expect them to be anywhere close to the ball. I expect the front side guy that ended up causing the fumble, that's in a box position, to squeeze and condense the lane. And the backside guy, he's got to back block, and he's got to sit home and be there for any cutback play. Don't ever tell him to, hey, run all the way over the top. I got numbers that we're going to count on defending that play elsewhere, not those 2 positions. And so we got to be better there. We can't get knocked back. Good job by them, but our guard can't get, when he's down blocking, he can't get knocked back into our puller. And then the last piece. So those are the guys that, you get 550 pounds on you, and the kick out guy, he's the one that pops the ball loose. Those things can't happen. That's the execution. Now, I just broke a play down that when we haven't been successful, these are some of the little things that have happened.
Yeah.
And that don't allow you to have the clean execution. These are basic plays. This is not asking anybody to be Superman. You got to block 2 guys. He's going to stay outside, just make sure he stays outside. He's going to stay backside, just make sure he stays backside. That's it. Nobody has to take somebody and run them into the end zone. That's good too if you can ever do that. And then again, we got to protect the ball. Man, you're in that position, and so we lose. We're taking off points. We have a chance to tie the game up 10-10 right there. And obviously on the first throwaway, they go down and score a touchdown. We end up getting the ball back after the turnover at the 6-yard line and not allowing them to score, but the turnovers and the safety, turned into 12 points, and we lose the game by 10. And again, we felt, we lost leverage. Same thing, you lose leverage. They're running a post route, and you lose leverage, against these guys. Our corner got a little bit heavy. He thought he might have some help inside. That's not a call that we have help inside, and he's got to do a little better job. They ran away from his leverage, and we gave up a big touchdown. And other than that, really felt we played outstanding, against a really good team that puts a lot of stress on you. The things that they were able to do on defense on Saturday night. This is the best running offense that they've had since Coach Heupel's been there. And this is a quarterback that can beat you both with his arms and his legs, where the other 2 quarterbacks really haven't been able to. And I personally think this is the best quarterback that he's had. And so, all that being said, I love the strain and the fight that we fought with on defense. We had a few drives that, we actually got some things going, early in the game, and the second quarter was just an abomination. And when it comes to, not being able to do much of anything, and we got in a really bad rhythm, just prior to the behind the line fumble. We had a really well-designed screenplay that's gonna go for substantial yards, and we just misthrow it, and that's one that and they got edge pressure coming, but we worked that a lot, and we just got to be cleaner there. And if we're a little cleaner, and we've probably run that 4, 5, 6 times here early this year, and it's been clean every time. And so again, those are some of the layups that we got to make those, and we just got a little bit out of sync. And in the mistakes that we were making were really harmful mistakes, where in that game, we really felt like we needed to change things up, at the quarterback position, and again, I'll just go into the second half, and of course the second half I thought again we really got into a good rhythm on defense, and I said we're going to go up, we're going to force the punt, it's a two possession game, and we got 30 minutes, a 2-possession game. We really felt like between the kicking game, I know we missed an extra point, but the kicking game we won the field position battle by 50 yards. And we were playing well there, and defense really felt we were in a great rhythm, in complete and total control on that side of the ball. And we're going to go get a stop on defense. We're going to get the ball back. And, hey, man, we want to get a little success. And we didn't have it initially. And, like you would expect, Mike, he's playing about he's like on fast forward, and everybody else is on, super slow motion. And that's just, you would expect that, the excitement.
Adrenaline.
And, the adrenaline it's a very real thing. And so it took a little while to get into a rhythm, and they played a little bit conservative, but they weren't going to, in my opinion, the way we were playing, I just felt we were in a really good position. And once we figured out what their plan was going to do, they were doing some things that maybe they hadn't done quite as much emphasis in the past, and so we got settled into that and helped ourselves a little more on the one receiver side, and we were playing incredibly physical. Man, there ain't no doubt those two units going after each other. Our guys were physical, and they won. We said we got to win the turnover margin. We got to be the most physical team. If we do that, we'll win a game. And and I really believe that, humbly speaking, and respectfully speaking, those are the two things: be the most physical team. And I thought their defense was more physical than our offense. I thought our defense was a little more physical than their offense. And again, I thought it was I thought we had the slight edge in the kicking game, and it was a good battle. It was what you would thought, a heavyweight fight that, again, Mike and the offense, they got into a rhythm there later, and they were still doing the same things on their defense, what they had been doing in the first half. So, and again, what you see with Mike, he's got, great, arm talent, and he also he's a little bit different with his legs. He can really put people in a bind, good athletes in a bind, because he's a tremendous athlete. He's really fast, and he's strong too. And again, I like the fight of the guys. There's a lot that I didn't like about the game, but we knew there'd be times when we had some dominant moments as a football team, in different spots, and then there's going to be some times it got a little bit sloppy. That's football, and at the end of the day, do you have a chance to win the game? And we did late, but we did enough things wrong, and particularly, again, turnovers and just really bad football coming off our own goal line, and again, it's the smallest details always have the largest consequences, and we have a false start when the ball's at the 4-yard line on 1st and 10, and so then it goes to the 2, and we got to be better coming off our goal line. That's we got to protect ourselves a little better. We had a miscommunication that I'm like, I'm tired of the miscommunication, and our guys know that. Whatever, if we're all wrong, then we're right. But when these guys are doing this, and it's one body and it's many parts, and this guy's he's having an out-of-body experience over here. We're not doing something as a staff. We got to be better as a staff to not let that happen. And so, they get they get the safety there, but Zach Schmidt really responded, and so from our own 20, we chose to kick off, and he kicks off, and we pin him at the 6, and then we force a punt right after that. And so, again, our guys just kept fighting and continued to believe, and Luke Elzinga was fantastic again, had another really good night. Our coverage teams, this was a really, really good return unit, both kickoff return and punt return, and our guys more than handled themselves well that way, and played really well. So we have to be better, and again, I think some of the young guys that are having to play, we lost Nick again, we lost Burks later on in the game. And these young guys they're getting a little better, and what you would hope and expect. And Jacquez Petaway really did some good stuff, and we had a few explosive runs. We had some RPOs that it's like there's a coverage. It's called a palms, and so. Palms is a coverage that the players on the field have to decide what the coverage is based on what the offense is going to do. So if they both go vertical, it's cover 4, which is kind of like straight man, and then if number 2 goes to the flat, within 5 yards, then the corner triggers and it becomes a cover 2 coverage, within the play. Well, when I was coaching early in my career, we'd call that, and then early in my career, the corner thought that the guy was coming to the flat, and he didn't, and he clouded, and the safety was playing on number 2, and then they threw it to number 1, and it's a big play. And the first thing the player says when he comes in, I'm like, what happened? And he's like, well, I thought. Well, don't let the players think. Don't give them options, right?
Yeah.
And I learned that just as a young coach, when you can, just let them play. Don't be in the perfect call, and sometimes when you're in that, you got young players and they have the autonomy on the field to do more than one thing based on what they think they see. You can make a good play, but you also, the flip side of that is what if what you thought isn't really what happened. And so, for us, man, let these guys just give them one thing to do, hand it off or throw it. And so, and I'm not saying it, this is a part of college football right now, and the NFL for that matter. And it's really good stuff to put the defense in conflict. But sometimes when you have, young players, that don't have this great depth of experience and decision making, it can put you in a position where again we thought, so we got a run pass tag, on early that. The receiver's supposed to run the slant. Number 2 receiver's running the arc, and the number 2's supposed to run the slant. Well, he blocks instead of running the slant, and we have a pressure, and we're supposed to hand it, but the RPO is throw the slant. If you get the right look, we didn't get the right look, but when we pull it and think, and we're going to throw the slant, it's not there, and we panic there, and we end up throwing it. A really judgmental call, but
that's
whatever. I'm not even judging. Yeah, the lateral. Yeah. And so we're just out of sync. And as I told Jackson, man, you had a bad moment. All right, you don't have a bad career. You're just getting started. You got this amazing, career sitting in front of you. And so, despite what anybody else, all the proclamations, you're going to have some amazing moments in your future, and can't let one bad moment and a couple of bad series define you. And so he'll be fine. He's handled things really well, and part of my job is to help all these young people. They're in this environment where they fail in front of the world, and they're young, man, and they look, they're big boys too. And so everybody has their own perspective, and I'm a coach and I'm a dad, and I'm in the same boat. And I'm mature. I'm 53, and so you got to try to help these guys not live in that arena where they live to the applause of the fans, and you're going to die by their rejection. And I try to tell them all the time, man, just stay out of that space. Check out during the season, because most of the time it ain't going to be good, if you kind of go into that space, they might be talking good about you, but they're talking bad about your best friend, and whatever, and I'm not, that's just going to be there. That doesn't, and so and not that he has, I try to get back on the phone with him right after the game, and his phone was off, and I was like, that's good. That's good.
That's good.
And, but he practiced well tonight. Mike did. Mike will have his opportunity to run out there and be our guy and see where we're at and try to give us a kickstart. And we've just kind of haven't been as we haven't had the consistency or the chemistry that you would like, and the cohesion. And some of that's, again, you got some new guys, and some of that maybe that can be a catalyst. And so we'll see about that.
So Michael will start. At
Auburn. Unless there's some kind of disaster this week.
I'm mature, I'm 53, is not too far from I'm a man, I'm 40. So that's
Really?
pretty off the branch there a little bit.
Really?
I like that.
Well, again,
I'm going to put that on a T-shirt.
Yeah, well, look, our guys, they're not naive, and this is what everybody signs up for. But at the same time, when it's appropriate, my job is to constantly nurture the right perspective for these guys, where they're at in their personal journey, and certainly where we are as a team, and then where we're going.
Yeah.
And try to give them the parameters and the bumpers on the bowling alley, keep them out of the gutter, and keep that ball moving so we can hit that strike as a football team, and they individually as well.
Opening segment brought to you by Noble McIntyre, McIntyre Law, the law firm you should turn to for all your personal injury needs. Teddy's got some questions for Coach when we come back here at Rudy's. Stay with us, everybody.
Sooner Sports Talk is brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Bob Moore Ford is proud to honor service members through the Patriot of the Game. Log on to Soonersports.com/kids for information about joining the Sooner Junior Kids Club, presented by OG&E and brought to you in part by Orthodontics exclusively, Mathis Home, and Devon Energy.
But they want you to coach, don't they?
All right, welcome back, everybody. Brent Venables, Teddy Lehman with us here at Rudy's on a Monday night. We're getting set for Auburn on Saturday afternoon down in Alabama. This segment brought to you by Dos Equis. Dos Equis, the official import beer of OU Athletics. Go for Dos. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Ted?
Defensively, you guys came out, showed some stuff that you hadn't really done up to this point. And the guys, they played awesome. Defensive line was super physical up front. That was fun to watch.
Yeah, they were fantastic. Really proud of those guys, and just really understood the depth of what we're trying to do. And there's a lot that's going on. They lined up in a certain spot, but they very rarely stayed. Mm-hmm. And some of the run stunts that those guys were doing inside was, man, they just played with tremendous precision and physicality, and held point, set edges. It was really coaches did a great job having the guys prepared, and the guys were so locked in, hungry. They couldn't wait to go out the next series. So just one of those nights where they really got into a great rhythm, playing really physical, tremendous fits in the run game, and then did all the right things to try to force the hands, because other than third down, a lot of those situations it's all RPOs, and so the quarterback, based on the reads, I thought they did a nice job of being patient in some of their looks and trying to manipulate the read, both pre and post snap. And it takes a lot of maturity. And again, we knew that and we played a lot of players. I think we played 17 freshmen in the game, not just on defense, but we played a lot of players on defense. But that's where we have our best, most competitive depth, and our best health too, right? We've had very few guys that have missed time. Obviously, Kendall Dolby, that was a devastating injury. Just felt absolutely awful for him, but he'll figure out. He's going to have surgery in a couple of days, and there's a slight fracture that he has in his leg as well as the dislocation, and it's kind of like again the high ankle type sprain that is actually worse and more painful than an actual break in the ankle, and so it takes they call it like a tightrope type surgery, and so it'll be several months for him, but he's got really good support, his mom and his girlfriend, and certainly all of us, and so he'll have a long career way after he gets through this challenge here over the next few months, and but otherwise, again, those guys really did, and we played some tackles out at defensive end for this game plan as well, and I really like how they all the chemistry of this group of guys is really. It's just as the year has gone on, man, we've gotten better and better and better with our knowledge, our confidence, the aggressiveness, the physicality that goes with that, the precision that goes with that. They like to practice. They like to compete. They have really incredibly high standards that they lean on constantly, and they know that the standard kind of that sets direction for everything. And without it, you lose your way. And so they lean on that, and just a great humility and respect for the process and how you play at a really high level. And this, having the success that they did on with that unit, will lend credibility to the process and buying in, to what it's going to take. And
I thought it was the widest range of guys so far this year, maybe since you've been here, that made plays. Trace Ford made. Lewis Carter was out there. You play Eli Bowen late was got challenged and played well. I mean, you didn't just play guys. Guys like stepped up and had some big moments out there.
Yeah, that's again. It's you've obviously broke it down and watched it. Even I know you saw it in person too, but. And you're right. Those guys that you mentioned, in particular, there, they did. They, Trace learned a new position, for the game, and with several of our opponents, we've tried to, since the spring and the summer, try to spend some time and try to get familiar. We haven't played these teams, so we wanted to find windows, 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there, where you could have specific time to get our players to understand, the DNA of these teams, so that game week, it wasn't the first time. There was some familiarity, and so hopefully that'll continue to show up. But guys, man, they played. I hate saying, me, I don't like talking good. I don't like bragging too much, and I'm not bragging other than it's going to take that for us to achieve the goals that we have for us as a football team. It's going to take, more performances like this. And I don't ever take it for granted. You got to start completely over in this week's plan. In some ways, there's things that are the same, and there's many things that are brand new. And the presentations are different. The personnel is different. What their objectives offensively are different. And we, get our guys to flush that and start over, have the same humility and the same respect and the same attitude to go right back at it again. But, it was funny, earlier in the week, right at the beginning of the week, we had a different rotation going in, at practice. And so I'm on both fields, and I've come over there, and I've got the cards, and I'm, so I know what play we're doing, and then the linebackers and the D-lines over here. And so it's 2nd and 5. We're 2nd and 5. We're at the -48, and it's 11 personnel, whatever. And I look out there, and we got a different rotation, and so I'm get after Coach Alley, and I'm like, get Lewis Carter in right now. So Lewis goes out there, and so I tell Coach Alley, why we're getting him in there, and then like within I don't know when it was like the first or second drive of the game, Lewis is out there already in the game. And I'm like, hey, where's Stutzman? Why is Lewis out there so quick? And as soon as it's coming out of my mouth saying that, Lewis freaking smashes the guy.
He ran through a guy.
And that was that play. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I see.
Look at talk about me.
But that was great, and that's going to really, again, just help his confidence and the coach's confidence and the player's confidence. And then Eli Bowen, we should have gotten him in the first half. We trust Eli. And as soon as he came out there, that big 6'4", 6'5" receiver, he goes, hey, look, I got the little fella out here. Yeah. And they had the formation into the boundary, so there's all this space, and there's one receiver out here by himself. Same structure where they scored that 70-yard post or whatever that was. And the dude, he's like, he's telling and I was like, oh, this ain't him. I was like, all I thought was he thinks he's that guy. I'm like, this ain't the guy. Right. And I'm really thinking because I think Eli Bowen, even though he's a little smaller in stature rather, he plays like he's 6'2", 210 pounds. And I'm like, y'all got him messed up. So they end up trying him down the field a couple of times, and he's in perfect phase, never panicked. and then they try to throw the quick hitch in front of him like the little guy can't tackle, and it was like a water moccasin on him, you know? And somebody else came in late, but he didn't need him. And so I'm affirming what you saw and affirming him, you know, in what he's going to be and who he is right now. And he's a super confident guy. He's always ready. He's got fabulous fundamentals, and he doesn't play with any fear. And so, and then Trace Ford, you know, he learned a new position. I got to give, you know, credit to Xavier Brewer. You know, he's one of our, you know, it's really cool. These guys can coach now. Xavier was a player for me, a safety. He played everywhere in the secondary for us at Clemson, and then we hired him, and then he went on. He worked in college and was a full-time coach, and then I hired him as our top defensive analyst when we got here, and because he's just really, really good. But they weren't allowed to coach the first couple of years. Well, now they can, and man, I trust him. He could coach corners, safeties, but he coached our cheetahs. And he's like, I can get Trace Ford ready to play. I'm like, no way, man. He plays defensive end. He can't play out there in all that space. He goes, trust me. And I'm like, all right. So he did, and he played outstanding. He had to play because of Kendall's injury, and Sammy played out there too. But Trace played a lot and played at a really, really high level. And I told him, if you play well, Trace, I think your future, you can play in the NFL like a long time. You're a hybrid guy, and you have to be able to show that. So it was great for him not to just display his versatility for down the road, but for us, that versatility, because he's lightning fast. He's probably 4.55. And he had a ghost, what they call a ghost pass rush, where he comes off the edge and he flashes his inside arm to the tackle, and the tackle, when he flashes, puts his hands up, and then Trace, you know, let's call it the windmill. He puts his hands on the grass and just dips, and has the unique ability to sink his hips because he's not stiff, bend his knees because he's not stiff, and accelerate right past the guy. Didn't even touch him, and he caused the fumble.
Nice. Chopped it out.
You know, chopped it out. And so he's really skilled, and we'll have to continue to bring him along, and then he can go and line up and set an edge, you know, as a defensive end as well. So really, really good stuff.
Got to take a break. More with Brent Venables to come. We'll talk about the showdown with Auburn next.
Sooner Sports Talk is brought to you by Norman Hyundai, your premier Hyundai dealership for new and used cars. The best place to gear up for game day is shop.soonersports.com. The Sooner Sports Podcast is your all-access audio pass to Sooner Sports. Listen as Toby Rowland and Chris Plank talk all things Sooners. New episodes drop every day. Log on to Soonersports.com/podcast or search Sooner Sports Podcast in your favorite podcast provider. Presented by Allstate and Riverwind Casino. Orthodontics Exclusively is a proud sponsor of the Junior Captain of the Game. Junior Captain is the ultimate fan experience for children 6 to 12.
This segment brought to you by the Riverwind Casino. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards. One question before we get into Auburn talk. Your secondary's been great. You're deep there. Your receiving core is thin with all the injuries. Famously, Bob Stoops, we were talking to him today about the Andre Woolfolk move.
Yeah.
Any consideration there? You got a couple of guys on defense that have played wide receiver in their past. Any consideration to helping out the receiver?
Well, it's funny that you say that. Now, we talked to Jacoby Johnson, who was a fantastic receiver. He played a little bit of DB, but he grew up his whole life as a receiver, and a lot of people recruited him as a receiver. We were one of, and many people recruit him as an athlete, but he is not a good receiver. He's fantastic, and man, he looked really good tonight. For a guy that hasn't been working that, for a while, he was really, really good. So he's really fast. As we know, a year ago he was our best special teams player, and he had the most snaps a year ago on special teams and as a freshman, and then this year he's second and playing, good at corner. And based on this team, this moment of our season, this is what the team needs, and we wouldn't do it if there wasn't going to be real opportunity. That's the vision, and that's my challenge, for the coaches. If you think he can really help, then let's use him. And he's long, he's 6'2", he's close to 210, and runs low 4.4, and has an amazing catch radius and just tremendous ball skills. Can really jump. He's incredibly tough, and so we need some playmakers over there. And you just take off any team's top 4 receivers off any team, NFL or college. Take 2 off of any team and see the stagnation that can happen. And so this is a move that, as long as Jacoby had good peace about it, and we're not ready to give up on him at corner. He doesn't want to give that up. He's got too good of a future, and this isn't going to stagnate his growth. But we do have on this team, we've got a little more depth at corner than we do at receiver right now. And like I said, if in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you're like, man, it's not going anywhere. This isn't transfer like we hoped it would. Then we'll move him back. But I
bet he's excited.
Yeah, no, and like I said, he looked really good. I'm not, me. Anybody that knows me, I don't really sunshine pump. That's not me. I try to use my words carefully, and so anyway, he was actually out there with them and running routes and looked really good and very natural, as much as anything.
You guys have to rethink anything, or are you going to rethink anything, do with a different quarterback, or do you just kind of stay the course on some of the schemes that you've been throwing out there?
Yeah, it's the same offense, and again, I say that, we got to be better in every way. We've got to constantly be very centered towards what can these players execute, and get them to do it at a high level, keep people off balance, have good play design and good play sequencing. All those things are really important. And but both Jackson and Mike are very similar in some ways, and there's a few differences, but they're both mobile guys that have got really good arm talent.
Quick break. We're talking Auburn next with Brent Venables. Back after this.
We want to thank all of our Sooner Radio Network affiliates across the state and region. Fans can check out Soonersports.com for an affiliate in your area. And if you're traveling outside the state of Oklahoma, you can listen to all the action on either SiriusXM Radio or download the Varsity Network app and listen free. OU's 2024 football games are available on Exodus 96.5 FM in Oklahoma City and 101.5 FM El Patron in Tulsa, as well as on those stations' websites. Each OU Spanish broadcast will feature a 30-minute pregame show and a 15-minute postgame show. Oklahoma Buick GMC dealers. See your Oklahoma Buick GMC dealer.
All right, welcome back. This segment brought to us by Pike Pass. Make it home safe, Oklahoma. Teddy, you got your Rudy's question of the night for Coach.
What have you seen from Auburn so far?
Yeah, it's a team that is 2-2, that lost 2 heartbreak type games, one to Cal by a touchdown, and this last week to Arkansas by 10 points. Both games offensively, they moved the ball. This last week they had over 400 yards of offense, but they had 5 turnovers. Actually, they had 500 plus yards. Arkansas had 400 plus yards, and so they had over 500 yards of offense. But they ran the ball really, really well, and they turned the ball over. So they have a quarterback deal going. So they had a quarterback that played. That started the game. In his first start, he had 3 turnovers in the first half, and so they made the quarterback switch back to Peyton Thorne, a guy that's played a lot of college football, transferred in there last year from Michigan State, and he did some good things, but had a couple of turnovers in that second half. Arkansas, as we know, they, their overtime loss was to on the road to Oklahoma State. They're 3-1 right now, and they're playing with a lot of confidence. So they lost it again to them. They have a freshman quarterback that can run around a little bit, and he did some good things, but they kept him off balance compared to how he had done in some other games. But they had a couple of explosive plays on him where they got behind the defense because of that scrambling ability. They're really they've got some new players in their front, but they're playing really well. They're front seven, on defense, and they're very similar to Tennessee with their front, and they're long, athletic, strong, SEC defense.
Yeah.
And
this is our first trip to Auburn. You've been there with Clemson there once a few years ago.
Yep.
Oh, go get them. Good luck against
appreciate
the
it. Thank
Tigers
you.
down there. Brent Venables, everybody. We'll wrap it up next here at Rudy's. Stay with us.
Thank you to our cornerstone television partners, OU Health, OG&E, Fowler Auto Group, and Coca-Cola.
Oh, man, that was a lot of info tonight from Coach Venables. We now know for sure Michael Hawkins will be the starting quarterback Saturday at Auburn. We know Jacoby Johnson's going to play a little wide receiver for the Sooners. They need that. We need your bold prediction for this game. Do you want to hear the others?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Gabe said there'll be a special teams touchdown for the Sooners. Josh Norman said that. Gabe said that OU will average over 5 yards a carry in this game on the ground.
Okay.
I said Danny Stutzman defensive touchdown.
I will take a Mike Hawkins to Jacoby Johnson touchdown. That's a bold prediction, right?
Oh, I love it. Oh, it's bold, and I like it a lot. I'm rooting for your prediction to come true. That does headline writes itself. We'll be on the air with you 11:30 a.m. with pregame coverage on Sooner Radio on Saturday morning down from the Plains in Auburn, Alabama. Kickoff just after 2:30 for the Sooners and the Tigers. We'll see you 2 weeks from tonight back here at Rudy's. Boomer Sooner, everybody.
Sooner Sports Talk has been brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. And by Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Sooner Sports Network.